I absolutely love our next fight. We have a couple of debuting fighters that both competed on Dana White's Contender Series in 2020 in September of last year. It's Collin Anglin representing Michigan. He's going to be taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. Matt, for Melsik Baghdasaryan, this is a guy that MMA fans might have seen on the periphery. He's a guy that trained with Ronda Rousey at the Glendale Fighting Center, as well as the Shabazian brothers. And for Melsik, man, this guy is just an absolute unit. He's from Armenia. He moved to the States at a really young age. So I threw it out there in terms of where these fighters are from or the countries that they represent. I saw that Melsik actually became a U.S. citizen over on the Instagram. So I wanted to honor that. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I threw Armenia as well as the United States for his country. But Matt, I mean, holy smokes, what can this guy not do in terms of the striking game? He is a former, and I mean this in all sincerity, international champion. And if you look at it, he was a champ with WLF, which is an organization that we've kind of scratched our heads at in the past. But if you do look at it, he fought some really big names over there. He beat John Liang Q to win that WLF championship. And that guy has a really big name in terms of the overall game. You look at it, 3-0 pro boxing record, 9-2 in terms of kickboxing. Now, again, those are three-minute rounds. So they are shorter than all of MMA. And if you look at it, he does have the one loss to submission from 2014 when he made his young pro debut. That doesn't scare me off all that much because I think what he tried to do, dip his toes in the water. It wasn't against a big name or a good opponent. He ended up losing that way. That's just a learning experience more than anything. I don't put too much stock into that. But Matt, I also have to say, I don't put too much stock into some of the wins. Combined opponent record in his 4 wins all in 2019 was 7-8. 2 of those fighters were debuting fighters. He beat them in 14 seconds, 32 seconds, 9 seconds, 7 seconds. That's 62 seconds of fight time in 4 fights. He ended up coming over to Dana White's Contender Series. He picks up a win. It was a knock-him-out, drag-him-out type of fight. He beat the tar out of his opponent in the first round. And then the second round, it got a little bit closer. And then the third round, it got a little bit closer. He was actually the main event of that episode. And these were the fighters that were in that episode, Matt, that got contracts. Tucker Lutz, Ronnie Lawrence, William Knight, and Jimmy Flick. Wow. And the last thing I want to leave you with, Melsik Baghdasaryan did not get a contract on that episode. Dana White said he wanted to have him back in November. Melsik was not on an episode back in November. He actually ended up getting signed to the UFC in March, and he posted that one on his Instagram. So I'm kind of up in the air on this one. Again, he trains out of the Muay Thai Gym of America in California, as well as Glendale with good old Edmund Tarverdian. So, Matt, what are you thinking about our guy Melsik Baghdasaryan? Because I didn't give a technical breakdown, and I can, because I watched all the short amount of tape, but also all the kickboxing I could find. This guy is a special fighter.
He needs experience, though, and like a lot of it. Like, that's the big problem with Melsik, is that in his MMA career, he does look somewhat green when it comes to like the things like takedown defense or even some of the grappling exchanges. Like, you can tell it's all very reactionary for him. Like, he doesn't exactly know what to do in the moment. It's like, okay, they shoot, they get to my hips. Okay, now I'm going to try to figure out how to defend this takedown. It's not like a guy like Corey Sandhagen, for instance, who would initiate the sprawl as TJ was coming in. Like, there's some things that you will just pick up as you have more fights under your belt. And I really do feel like Melsik Baghdasaryan is one of those cases of he just needs more fights under his belt. And this fight against Collin Anglin should be really interesting because for Melsik, he's a really long and rangy guy for this division. And it's weird. He's only listed at 5'9", but from the footage I watched, he looks to be as big of a featherweight as you can be. He's a heavily muscled guy.
So does Collin Anglin.
And exactly, that's what I was about to say. I feel like the majority of the time, Melsik, when he's in there, must feel like the bigger guy. But this is going to be one of those rare occasions where these are 2 of the bigger guys in the featherweight division. And honestly, I could see both of them moving up to lightweight as they get a little bit older because this weight cut must be really hard on both guys. For Melsik, I kind of compare his striking a little bit, not exactly, to remember Prime Shogun when he was like throwing leg kicks and body kicks. And I understand he was orthodox, but he is a guy who he'll work a lot behind that back power kick, and then he'll set up his hands from it. He's not afraid to throw that check right hook when guys are moving forward on him. It's something that he can do too. He's good at throwing the knee up the middle when guys are moving forward. Like, he's a really dangerous striker off his back foot. And those are all going to be really important things because in this fight against Collin Anglin, Anglin can strike. Don't get me wrong. He can strike. I don't think this is the fight he should be showing that off to us in. It's kind of like when Michael Venom Page fought Douglas Lima the first time around. Listen, I know Michael Venom Page is a good striker, but at that point in time, it was a little bit too much. Now, I understand rematch coming up in a little bit might get a different result, but we kind of figured out, okay, that bowl of porridge is too hot. We got to go find a new bowl. For Collin, I do really like his striking into the clinch. Again, I brought up before we even started filming, like Marvin Vettori's kind of like he's got black belt level striking into the clinch, like he's just really, really good at, okay, I've got big shoulders, I'm defensively sound, I can get to that position.
And then it's like he's walking. It's like he's walking in your bowl of porridge because he just gets stuck there in the clinch.
Yeah, exactly. Now, he does get stuck there, but at least he can get to that position and get his head out of trouble. The real question for Collin Anglin is, can he avoid the power strikes until he does get to the takedowns? Because I really think that once he gets his hands around Melsik's hips, I think he's going to be able to take him down relatively easily. And I do think he's going to be making Melsik work a lot off of his back with every single takedown attempt. So I really do think that every minute that ticks off this fight is going to favor Collin Anglin.
Well, we looked at it in terms of some of these guys that are debuting. We talked about it with Orion Cosce. He was a big underdog in his Dana White Contender Series fight. So was Collin Anglin when he took on Naimov. And if you look at his overall body of work, 5 of his 8 wins are by finish since he turned pro in 2017. He had a fight against Sungwoo Choi booked earlier this year, but it ended up that things just didn't work out. That would have been a really tough fight. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, Matt. Sometimes I like to go to the UFC's website, and when he talked about it, and these are the quotes, when and why did you start fighting? Well, I started training in MMA after my first amateur fight. What? What?
Okay.
He went to Michigan State. He has a degree in criminal justice, and yeah, great for him. You love to see that. Go Spartans. I bet you he's a big Draymond Green fan. When I look at it, Matt, he has a wrestling background from high school. He also has the Factory X connection, so you'll see Mark Montoya in his corner. It's just going to be 2 great corners going at it. Mark Montoya, Edmund Tarverdyan. Who's going to break first? I don't know. But if you look at it, his win over on Contender Series over Naimov, 129-28, 229-27s, where he was just firing away some unanswered damage. So I look at the odds for this one. Collin Anglin open to -160 favorite. He's a +118 underdog right now. For Melsik Baghdasaryan, open to +140 underdog. He's a -144 favorite. If we have a look at the Tapology votes, I'm going to move my papers. It's a surprise to us as it is to you. Hey, 896 total votes, 66% Anglin, 77% by decision. For the 34% that have Baghdasaryan, 53% by decision, 36% by knockout. Matt, I'm surprised. Am I going to get juicy odds on Collin Anglin? I like that wrestling background.
Yeah, so do I. And again, if Melsik wins, it's going to be a lot sexier if he wins. Oh, yeah, it's going to look way cooler. The UFC is going to have a highlight that they can throw on Twitter, and ESPN can tweet about it, and we can tweet about it. And just exactly, it's going to be around. It's going to get around. But if Collin Anglin wins, it's probably going to be a 30-25. 12 of 17 takedown attempts, one of those gritty type performances. Listen, a win's a win at the end of the day, but I'm sure the UFC has more eggs in Melsik's basket than they do in Collin Anglin's. But I do agree with you. I like Collin Anglin here.
Collin Anglin, let's see what's in your basket. We're going with the guy from Michigan in this fight. I can't wait for it. Let us know down below in the comment section. You're going with the purest of pure strikers. This guy's one of the best kickboxers you're going to see in the sport, and he's taking on one really tough out in Collin Anglin. Both of us going with a Michigan man. You're not going to want to miss the rest of the videos, including our main event video preview of Uriah Hall. He's going to be taking on Sean Strickland. I say video, but you can check us out. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. I got us back on the Google Podcast app, so you can find us there as well. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, and as we always say,
let's get into it.